Welcome to the Pedal Collaborative podcast. We're so glad you're here. Hey, welcome back to the Pedal Collaborative podcast. I am your host, Alan, and I have my partner in crime, who is always creating the crimes, Paul.
Hello, doing crimes.
I don't even know what creating the crimes means, but it felt right in the moment.
I don't know. It happened. But happy November. Happy
My gosh.
day after. Hopefully we don't have to get political ads and text messages constantly. And happy Thanksgiving season. So
Happy Thanksgiving season, yes. Oh, man, it has been a crazy whirlwind October, I'll tell you. And so it's kind of wild to think about. We are now in November.
yeah, we're into the holiday season. So it is weird. I feel like we just started the podcast because we started over the summer though, and now it's cold out.
Right.
So that's a journey we've been on, you know. Yeah, I feel like old people are like, man, this year's moving along fast. It's moving along fast.
Okay, so you're saying that you're old now?
That I was born that way. So
Okay.
yeah,
You are an old soul.
yeah, an old soul.
An old black metal soul.
Yes, that's exactly how I describe myself when I meet people, even. So, but
It makes sense. It tracks.
But as we head to the holiday season and heading towards also a big pedal milestone, which is Black Friday, because there's usually fun stuff on Black
Yes.
Friday.
There's always fun stuff on Black Friday.
Yeah, there's always something fun, whether it be deals or releases or special colors, which we love. It's the time of year for pedal enthusiasts to get really excited. And in the last couple weeks, there's been a couple new announcements. I know last week we did a Halloween episode, and after that, Alexander, you sent me the syntax error with a custom spooky, which I'm considering still, but we'll see for next year.
The syntax terror. I mean,
Syntax
so
terror,
if
yes.
syntax terror, if you haven't gone onto the site yet, I would encourage you, because it's not just the syntax terror. Like, I think they renamed almost all of their collection to be spooky.
Oh, I
for
didn't go
this,
that deep, so I'll
yeah.
have to look at everything. So we'll see if I find
Yeah, no, I just sent the syntax terror because we had just dropped that video of creating some of the syntax error sounds on the Maris Mercury X and LVX.
Yeah, and then a spooky one came out right after we did our spooky episode. But yes,
Exactly.
So we're past spooky season for now. As I lament heading into the traditional holiday season. But yeah, also JHS had 2 new drops that came. We had the what is the name of the
1.5
delay?
new drops.
Yeah, what's the name of the delay? The flight delay.
Yeah.
Which is a cool. I actually really. So it's been a while since like a JHS pedal totally caught my eye. Because I've tried a lot of their drives, I've tried a lot of their pedals, and I've tried a lot of the iterations, and I like them. But it's just, I feel like also I have so many DSP heavy pedals nowadays that like I want stuff that has presets and can do all the things. But
Right.
The flight delay is pretty cool because what it's built of is, and for those who have listened to our delay episode, it's 3 of like pretty classic and ones we like delays of the Memory Man. So I believe it's the analog delay from the Memory Man. The reverse is from the Boss DD5. Or no, the digital is from the DD5 and the reverse mode from the Line 6 DL4 all in one pedal.
Yes.
Which, if you're gonna do a non-DSP pedal, it's a pretty cool emulation of 3 pedals in one box.
It really is. And I don't know if you saw, I mean, I know you saw this, but the ability to do chorus or vibrato all on any of the settings is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to, I think we're going to get our hands on one. And it was a pretty cool, unexpected release because I feel like JHS a lot of the time, like, I feel like for the last couple of years, a lot of their releases have been drives or like, I guess they had that Madison Cunningham pedal, the Artificial Blonde. But it's a lot of drives usually. They're very drive focused. So it was cool to see something kind of different and also like right in both our wheelhouses as well.
Yeah. Wait, is this like, I'm on the site now. It's mono in and out. So it's not a mono in stereo out.
No.
Okay.
JHS doesn't
That's
do
cool.
that for you. I'm so sorry.
So I have to talk to Mr. JHS about this.
Yes, we'll have a conversation. But
We shall.
Yes, and as you said, a half, but cool. The colorway they put out for the 10th anniversary of the color box, the dark blue with the special, I think they called it like the pro audio aesthetic with the knobs the way they are.
Right. Yeah, it's really cool looking. It's kind of got, I mean, it's got a Rupert Neve look for anybody who is into Rupert Neve.
Yeah, which the pedal's always been designed around that plug directly into a Neve console sound. But it's now has the aesthetic instead of the traditional color box being that like white with the standard JHS knobs. So
right.
Pretty cool build. And I feel like there's been some others that came out, but those were the two that like really stuck out to me in the last few weeks here.
Yeah. Well, there's also coming out soon, I think shortly after, I guess next week, if based on the time that we release this episode, I guess the Wonder Effects is coming out with his delay pedal.
Yes, I'm stoked to get that one.
He has teased. Yeah. What is it called? Like the Great American Disappointment or something?
It's the Wet Hot American Bummer. You just went a totally different direction. That was a kind of weird on election week, Alan.
But I think that's what this whole thing, I don't know. That's the way I took it.
No, Wet Hot American Bummer, a play off of Wet Hot American Summer.
Okay.
So that's what it is.
I'm sticking with mine.
Yeah.
The Great American
is just totally a different place.
Can I name this episode The Great American Disappointment?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, cool.
But no, that I'm very intrigued about that pedal just because it looks like a pretty cool design. The way that it's put together. I do like the Wet Hot American Bummer design with the cassette tape with the unraveling for a delay. Right. And I also love the knob choices of having the chicken heads up top.
Yes.
So just excited to get into my hands and play with it here.
He does that. He has done that before. I know. Well, he does the big giant on the old Blue Overdrive, and scratch that. He's got several of them. The old Blue Overdrive version 2 has the big chicken head knobs up the top. His collaboration with NoFX that sold out has them, as well as his Wonderwall also has them. And it appears the Tiger Saw. So apparently, if you like big chicken head knobs, then go check out wondereffects.com because he'll take care of you.
Yes, it's something I don't know why I'm always a sucker for that type of knob on a pedal, just because it's like so different and cool. So
yeah. I know another one that's kind of come out that, and at least to me, kind of flew under the radar. The Keeley Zoma.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you looked at that at all?
Yes. I was checking it out. I saw the reverb trim. I was watching a couple videos. It seems pretty cool. I think they have two pedals that came out, right? That one and another one.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, this is the non-comprehensive release week episode of the Pedal Collaborative podcast. Alan was traveling and Paul was traveling, and now we're coming back to life and doing things episode.
Trying to, at least.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they didn't. I mean, unless I'm completely missed it last week being out of the country, but
maybe I made that up. I might have made it up. It's fine.
You may have.
Yeah, but no, the Zoma had two color options. It sold out of the custom shop sand, which was...
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah, the custom shop sand, and there's the silver. Maybe I just saw the two colorways, and because I was scrolling quickly while moving about, thought that it was something else. But that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Well, it's fine. I'm okay being wrong. So
you're okay with that? Okay. Well, cool. I mean, what I can tell you is anybody who is interested in the Zoma or the Halo Core, which can't really get anymore, the Octosi or any of his hybrid 4-in-1 drive pedals that Keeley has, they're all in that newer enclosure that they custom make in house. And Paul, you have the Octosi right now, so you've messed with it. You know what that form factor feels like.
Yeah,
I love it. Well, you and I have a thing for slanted pedals anyway. So.
Oh yeah, if it's slanted towards me, I'm like, you guys have thought about everything. Whether it's on a desktop or if it's on my pedal board, I like that. It's not flat. It allows it to be in the second row easier if you're arranging your pedal board. Always a fan of that.
Truth. Yeah. So I think if anyone has some trepidation on this slanted enclosure, we're here with you. We we'll be with you every step of the way. You can do it.
Yes. We see you, we hear you. You should try slanted enclosures.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's the episode. That's it. That's good. Like that's all we need to talk about is the slanted enclosures.
That's all I wanted to do. So yes.
Yeah.
No, there was something, another release that I wanted to pull out that I saw, and I'm trying to remember what it is. So I'm just going to kill time for a second while I look.
Okay.
The Zoma. There was something else out there that I saw when I was scrolling, and it's tough when we're scattered to the four winds and trying to figure stuff out. Oh, I remember what it was. It was it's the Boss. Boss did another multi effects. They did a smaller.
Oh, did
one.
they? Okay.
It's the GX10, so it's like the GX100 but tinier.
Okay. Okay.
Which I will say.
Oh, I see this.
Yeah, I will say I have not tried a Boss multi-effects in years. But recently with Boss doing sort of what I would call their like middle child versions of pedals. So they have obviously the DD
middle child.
Yeah,
is that what we said?
Yeah, you ready? So we got the DD8, which is like their current flagship iteration of the DD. Then they have the DD500, their big dual delay, but they have the DD200, which is like the middle child.
Yeah.
And
which you have.
I do, and I actually really like that form factor because it doesn't. Basically, it has like all the things the DD500 could do, minus the dual delays. It's a single delay, but it has presets. It has all the modeling. It has a looper. It has tap tempo. So it's a cool form factor, and also unlike the littlest ones in the series, it does have like tap divisions just built into a knob or I think it's a button.
Okay.
So I'm curious, like I feel like they've been doing these form factors where they make some of their more powerful things smaller. And so the GX10 seems like what I saw it as is it seems like a cool piece to have as like a backup rig if everything fails. A smaller one, but it has like, it looks like it has like most of the same power of the bigger one. So that was the other pedal I saw that I scrolled by. I was like, oh, interesting. A multi-effects that's like tiny. And it seems like it's kind of in the HX effects type size.
Yeah. Yeah. So I totally missed this release and I've got it up now and dang, I kind of want to try it.
That's why I wanted to bring it up because I knew you might have missed it. And I was like, there was another one out here, and I like looking at the interface. I like their like block system, how it's like little geometric shapes.
Yes,
it looks cool.
Yeah. Well, so this looks to me definitely like an HX Stomp competitor. Even more so because it has the integrated volume pedal or the integrated pedal you can do things with. But
yeah, that is honestly the big separator on that one. I thought it's like it's got the form factor of like a floor, like a Helix floor.
Yeah.
But in this like a smaller size. So
yes, it does. It also has it's an interface. So you can USB-C it straight into your computer and just like the Stomp does. Which if we're thinking, this also makes me think of the Nano Cortex that came out that released a few weeks ago, which was disappointing beyond all belief because it had no headphone out. It was not a USB interface.
And also it was mono, wasn't it?
I think so. All I know is I got super excited.
It was mono in at least.
Mono in, that's right.
Mono in. You can't incorporate it to a rig. It's like
right,
but there was no loop. You could incorporate it to a rig if you had a mono run before it, but.
Well, I think the way that I do it is the way that everybody is supposed to do it, and if it doesn't match me, then what are we doing? Is that correct? Or?
Yeah, no, accurate. Totally what I would say. No, I did. Well, the reason I wanted to bring it up for you is I saw that it had this one also has a mono input, but it's stereo out and has an effects loop and it has headphones. So I know you were kind of hoping you could try the Nano Cortex and it didn't have those things. So just throwing it out there as a thing.
Man, Paul, as we're getting into like holiday season, we've already talked about this. This is not the season of Alan, get out the credit card.
No, it's not Alan buy new things. It's Alan. We have to wait till Black Friday too. So
I think you've just given me the approval to buy it, and all of our listeners, they'll side with me that is Paul said to buy it. So it's a touchscreen display, dude.
I know. I told you I saw another cool thing. That's why I wanted to scroll and find it before I lost the thread when we were talking about our as I said, non-holistic releases of the week. or the month.
Okay, so this is like what we're experiencing right now is literally our day-to-day conversations.
Yeah, no, this is probably the most we've ever not been prepared and just talked about stuff, because that's how this week went. So,
Right.
no,
Well,
I do want to try that pedal. So we'll talk offline about it, Alan. We'll talk offline about
yeah,
it.
I don't want to say that we're not prepared. This is just complete like
It's
stream of
raw.
consciousness for
It's
us.
raw. There's no prep. It's just raw today. So, no, I do want to talk about Black Friday, because some of the deals have released. Some of the deals have released where I'm seeing
Let's talk about that.
guitars and pedals. I took advantage of a deal that it wasn't actually a Black Friday release, but the Walrus Audio Voyager is being discontinued. And so it's being blown out right now for $99.99 at Sweetwater.
On Sweetwater, right? Because you can't find it on Walrus anymore. Like
Walrus doesn't have it, so I actually
gone.
got one, because I had, back in the day, I had I want to say it was like serial number like 37 of the Voyager, like when it first came out, and I love that pedal. That was actually a pedal that made me like Walrus a lot, because I had an issue with my LED where it started like malfunctioning, probably about like 6 months into like playing, and I was playing live like 3 times a week back then. And at the time, Brady, who is now at Old Blood Noise, like actually texted me when I reached out and like asked me to send him a video of what was happening. Immediately diagnosed it and said, "Hey, send it back. We'll take care of it." And like just kept me in the loop, like, because they were such a small company at the time, like texting me and updating me, and then sent me back an addition, like a free T-shirt, and it was just like it was such a good customer service experience, which I've actually had with them several times over the years. Like my Deep Six had an issue, the same thing.
Well, you mentioned that,
yeah,
and isn't that like the Deep Six where they made you like number 11 out of 10?
Well, yeah, no, but like I had an issue like years later where I got it repaired, and they were like, they are still top-notch customer service as far as fixing your stuff.
Yeah.
But so when I saw that Voyager deal, I was like, I really don't need this, but because it's going away, and even though they'll probably replace it with something Klon-y, I just wanted to have that at that price point for the nostalgia and like the, a piece of guitar pedal history of that was like, Walrus Audio entered the scene with that pedal, and I think it was like pedal of the year right after that, because it was like a clone that sounded really good and looked really cool. And I do think that the aesthetic they have on that pedal introduced a whole new type of aesthetic in the boutique world back in like 2010 or 11, whenever it launched. So
yeah, I can see that, because it was kind of, I don't know, they were one of the first companies that Walrus, as we're talking about, to bring, full on design with not only specific pedals but throughout their whole catalog. And that also like leads into the whole Black Friday thing. Every year they tend to release a whole packet of their pedals in a specific design, so that's definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm. I spoke too soon. I just clicked and it's actually gone from Sweetwater. So
it's gone.
Voyager's gone.
Okay.
So
okay.
Well, hey, I got one. Sorry, everyone. But no, so I'm excited. Yeah, you're right. They usually do a cool thing, and a few other builders do like kind of a series Black Friday where instead of having like one Black Friday pedal, it's like a highlighted artwork from either an artist or a collaboration with another brand that's usually local to their city. And I look forward to those pedals every year. One, because I like to have different artwork, and two, some of them are like really cool collabs, or like they'll like give to like a local charity as part of it. So it's you're heading into the Christmas, Thanksgiving season, and as a guitar player, you have something fun to look forward to on Black Friday. So I am certainly going to be keeping my eye out for little teasers, little announcements, and get my hands on as many of them as I want. So I'm like,
maybe we can also do some teasers and announcements as this month goes on about Black Friday.
You segued. I think we should just tease a little bit now. We'll just tease it. So we're gonna have a Black Friday thing this year. It's not an exclusive pedal because we're not that cool, but it's pretty cool. And I would say keep an eye on our Instagram and our Patreon over the next few weeks here. we'll tease it out and we'll give more details before it hits Black Friday, because I know there's gonna be a bunch of stuff hitting your inbox on Black Friday. I know my emails have already started. But we are going to be doing I'll just say we're giving away a pedal.
There you go.
And we'll explain how you can enter that giveaway as we get closer. But it's exciting. If you are already a follower of us, you will be stoked. If you're not, you would also be stoked. So it's a pretty cool thing. So that's my teaser. I'm very vague early on here.
Your grandparents will be stoked about it.
Maybe. I mean, maybe.
Well, I was going to say your mom, but then I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Not going to do that, no.
Well, because it was, yeah. I mean, Paul, I know your mom. She might be stoked about it, actually.
That's true. She might be like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we are doing our Black Friday thing. So keep an eye tuned. I don't know. Keep an eye tuned? That doesn't work.
Yep. Keep an eye tuned.
Eye peeled.
That's great.
No,
that's
keep
disgusting.
Your eye tuned.
Why would you?
Our channel.
I'm just picturing like you taking a peeler to your eyeball. No.
Yes, don't do that. Just pay attention to our stuff, and we'll tell you how to potentially win our giveaway for Black Friday this year.
Yeah. Well, and I know that you and I are like really excited to actually announce what this is. But I mean, what I can say is that none of this would be possible without the intentional and unintentional support of everybody who's listening and everybody who's been along this journey with us over the last year plus, or I guess about a year. I'm almost 2. I'm not drawing a blank as to when we actually started.
I think it's actually just been a year. So
just been a year.
It feels longer, but it's just been a year. So
yeah, but I mean, okay, can't say exactly what we're doing yet, but knowing what we're doing, knowing what that means is like, man, the folks who have been along with us this whole time, who have been collaborators with us on Patreon, who have from a monthly standpoint, people who have purchased some of our preset packs for the Maris LVX and Mercury X, also available on Patreon. Listeners of just the podcast, people who just found out about us because the podcast. This community is growing and it's super exciting, and we just love just the concept of being able to give back in a way, and just to do something huge. I guess maybe less give back, but something huge like what we're gonna do. And you're all on the edge of your seats, just trying to be like, just tell us what it is. And the answer is no, we're not going to do that right now. But I don't know. That's what it is.
Yeah,
but
and I feel like it's worth mentioning right now, because it's very adorable that both of us get really. So when we're thinking of videos or new episodes or content that we're putting out or new preset packs, we get really excited because usually we're like a month or 2 ahead of doing the thing. We think of the thing. And sometimes both of us will text each other like, man, I wish we could just release it all at once and just give you guys everything, because it's fun to also talk with people and hear their feedback. I know our recent timeline delay pack for the LVX.
Oh, yeah.
It was cool to hear so many people were stoked on it and get excited about it. And whenever we do tease something and we put on the old marketing brain, it is actually counterintuitive to both of our inherent nature of wanting to immediately tell people exciting things and do exciting things. Right. I'm the kind of person where if I get my wife a present and let's say her birthday is a few months out, I get it and I immediately want to give it to her. And that is how Alan and I both feel about anytime we create something for this channel of oh no, why are we waiting to do? We should be less strategic and just do it now. Let's just put it out now. Let's put it out so people can listen and talk with us.
All right. So you just referenced the LVX timeline release.
Yes.
And I want to kind of pull that out a little bit, because if any of our listeners here have not been if they're not following us on Instagram or Facebook, they would not know what we're talking about. I mean, they could put 2 and 2 together, but I just wanted to at least say that last week or 2 weeks ago, Paul and I released a LVX preset pack that emulates the 12 algorithms on the original timeline. And this is something that is only available to our monthly collaborators on Patreon. It is not available as a standalone purchase. So if you're interested in getting your hands on this, your digital hands on this, air quotes, The only way to do so is to join us on our journey on a monthly basis. And that is available now. It actually is the second exclusive preset pack that we've made. We have one based on the original Big Sky for all of you Mercury X fans out there as well. And anybody want to check it out, you can go to patreon.com/thepedal collaborative and look for the tab that says collections. And there is one collection on there that is exclusive presets. So that's what that was talking about.
I didn't think about the fact that we should explain what it is, but yes, that is what a good call. We to explain what the heck I was talking about with the timeline pack, because you might not know. But yeah. So there's a lot of good stuff on the Patreon, and I feel like we lost the thread of, if you are interested in what we're doing on Black Friday, keep an eye on the Patreon, because there'll be news and an explanation of how to enter our giveaway. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I'll tell you this, like, the Patreon collaborators will be the first ones to know about it.
Yes.
Just like everything else.
Yes. So I don't have anything else this week. I feel like we teased, we talked, we rambled about new gear. Anything else you want to talk about this week, Alan?
Before we go, let's do our question of the week, shall we?
Yes. So I picked one this week for you, specifically for you.
Oh, thank you.
It's only for you. And it is from Pedalboards of Doom on Facebook,
Nice.
which is a great Facebook group. If you're not part of, I think it's one you should join. Just as I think we read another one from there before.
I think we did. I have a coworker or colleague that is on there, and he tagged me in this post that he made, and it showed his pedal board, and he tapes over everything because he doesn't want to be distracted by the the logos and the fonts and that sort of stuff. But he was like, dude, and he texted me, he's like, these folks on Pedalboards of Doom are ruthless. I'm like, just head high, walk tall, bud. Go for it.
It's what it's for. So here we go. Here's the post. Confession. I've only ever done mono, but this week I tried stereo for the first time with this rig. Dual amp and stereo delay with the HX Stomp, and then stereo into the Flint. And my goodness, how do I ever go back to mono? Mono is now unacceptable and gross. So how do you go back to mono once you've gone stereo?
I mean, the quick answer is you don't. You don't. No, I mean, okay, so that's the short answer. Do you want to give a short answer? And then I have a longer answer. But
yeah, I mean, my answer is the only way at this point in time, and I know we always kind of make little goofs about this because I have less of a beef with mono, especially if the pedal sounds great. But the only way you go back to mono is if you're playing with a real amp and you're not lugging 2 amps around. That's for me, because I do my at home recording is usually either direct into my DAW and using some amp sim in my computer, or just recording direct and that's that into native or something. Or I have my Stomp as an interface, or I have my Dream into my DAW. So I have those are all stereo options. I don't have to compromise. But I am never I don't play live that often anymore. And if I did, I'm not carrying 2 amps around. So it will not be a stereo rig to play live. It's going to be set up to be a mono run, because that's just what it is. That's my only answer to it, because also I kind of agree, if you have played in stereo and you can spread your pedals, it's hard to consider not doing it anymore.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I like that. If I dive a little bit more into my thoughts on it, and I mean, everybody should know that I'm a sucker for stereo. I love it. I will totally not get something even if I like everything about it. But if it's just mono, not into it. Even anybody who listened early in the episode talking about the new Boss GX10, as I'm researching more, I'm really concerned about whether it's got a stereo send and return, or if it's just mono, and that might be the deal breaker for me. It's that big of a deal. But that said, I'm spending the majority of my time making content here on the channel for us all to enjoy. And if I'm, or recording something in my DAW, whether it's, one of, an ambient track that I'm working on, or whatever the case is, when I go live, and I can think actually in my 20 plus years of playing, I've only really ever done stereo once. And, Paul, I forget if you were there with me. I don't know if you were playing that with me or not, but I had borrowed a a Morgan amp from our buddy Chris to kind of partner with I think my Dr. Z at the time and have two. And I remember front of house coming in and saying, dude, like, this is a mono rig, like it's a mono PA. So, no one else is going to hear the stereo. He's like, you can do it if you want, but just so you know, it's going to be mono out here. And I was like, I don't care, I'm doing it. But the reality is, when you're playing live, whether it is, a dive bar or a small club, or, if you are a church player or whatever the case is, most of those situations are mono PA, which means that whatever you're putting in is going to be summed to mono anyway, whether it's 2 amps or if you have a Helix or like a quad cortex or whatever that is, one of those things. And if it's stereo, it's going to be summed to mono unless A, the front of house has the channels to be able to do it, and B, that the PA can support a stereo, mix. So getting back to this, a pedal should sound great mono because the majority of any live is going to be done so in mono. A pedal that's stereo should be great stereo, so that if you're doing something in the box or you're in a situation that you can do something in stereo, that it sounds great there. But I really don't think I can be snooty about it and say I don't want mono stuff, but the reality is I don't think it is enough of a big deal to say don't get something that's mono. And like a lot of things that can be mono and stereo out, you might have to run that as mono because otherwise, if you have 2 mesos, mono and stereo out, mesos running back to backs, one of them has to be sacrificed as mono only. So it's got to sound great mono. If it can fan out to stereo, that's fantastic, but it's got to sound great if it can't, right?
What a practical answer from you on this hardline topic. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I mean, it almost doesn't feel right to say, but no, just kidding. I mean, like the reality is, most of us, when we play, and especially when we're in a group scenario, it's going to be mono. When we're doing guitars, I think synths can be different, right? Like synths are more practically done in stereo, oftentimes, especially if it is like a stereo synthesizer. But even if I'm looking at like recording a mix, I'm going to probably do a mono signal of a really dry, driving guitar. I'm not going to split that out because I'm going to want that to be in your face. And then I'll bring in some of the wet effects and kind of whether I'm reamping it and with wet effects. We should talk about reamping sometime, Paul.
Yes,
anyway.
we will do that. Yes, that's a whole other thing to consider in this process. I started alluding to it when I said direct in, but we'll get there later.
Yeah. You're using the lingo. If I'm recording like a driving guitar, I'm going to have that centered up. I might, if I double up, might do a little bit of a split on a mix, but I want that in your face. Some of the delays and reverbs and a lot of the wet effects, I definitely want spread out, but I'm not going to be sacrificing an in your face driven guitar tone to only do in stereo. I'm going to have that really focus on the mono because that's just the way that I like to mix. So, stereo is a tool. It's a very fantastic tool, but I think the reality is most of us are not going to be using it in a live scenario. So as long as the effect sounds fantastic in mono, then I think you're good to go. And
so your long answer was similar to my answer of how you go back once you've gone stereo is when you go play live again, you're going to probably not get to do what you're doing. So that's the answer. Practicality.
Right. I just wanted to
practicality.
Yes, I just want to make it very long. I wanted people to listen to that.
Great. I mean, you care so much about this. So I was like, I set this question up to give you a soapbox to just talk about it. So there you go.
Thanks.
That was for you.
Thanks. And that was practical. Like if we wanted to go back on the soapbox and talk about whether or not, they should ever make mono effects again, then that's another half hour of talking right there. But we'll leave it at that.
I have quite a few mono effects I love, so we can do that. But all right, everybody. Well, this week has been our teaser and non-holistic overview of new pedals. Our teaser for Black Friday and non-holistic overview of new pedals. So hope you enjoyed it. Keep collaborating.
I'm still going to call it the Great American Disappointment, though.
Yeah, for sure. We feel like we need to make that alt version of the pedal now. So, but we'll see you all next week.
All right, everybody. Take care. Peace.